What it do, guys? Welcome to Final Fantasy Fridays. We're here with Reave on his version 1 of his deck. He will give the title because I'm not sure of the title, but I'll leave it to him.
I haven't come up with a name for it yet, but it's a TriColor Final Fantasy deck, which will be using Earth, Wind, and Fire. Or,
Like the song.
well, on the spot, elementals. So, what I have is two different versions of Light Cloud. Alright, so I have the EX one, which once he hits the field, deals 7,000 damage to any of my opponent's forwards. This one, he has two effects: Meteor Rain, where he deals 4,000, and then Omni Slash, he just outright breaks forward. Next up, I have one wall.
Oh, God.
Amazing card, and he has pretty much 4 effects, and I get to choose 2 of the effects. One is give him brave, the other one's give one of my forwards 2,000 power boost. Next one is choose one dull forward, deal it 3, and last summons and EX summons and EX abilities cannot target my cards on the field. Next up is Barrett. He's the searcher of the deck, and pretty much he has a really good EX burst. So whenever he attacks, take the 4 cards from the top of my deck, search from it one Final Fantasy VII forward. Next up, I have 2 5 CP Vincents. His EX burst is when he hits the field, I get to search for another card named Vincent. What I essentially use him for is to search for the 4 CP Vincent, where with him, he cannot be broken by summons from my opponent, but his best effect is the death penalty, where I get to choose up to...
As many as you want.
Yeah.
A total cost of 7 or more. 7 or less and break it.
Next up, I run 2 CP Earth.
So sassy.
Tifa's. The best part about it is if I have a cloud on the field, I can put her onto the field for 2 CP. For my win, I run 3 of the Eris from Opus 8. Really good card, especially when my opponent likes to deal damage that's less than, especially fire. They'll be able to survive it. And next up, I have the 2 CP Yuffie, where I get to put her on the field for free if I have a Vincent on the field. Then after that, I have the 2 CP Yuffies, where I can, if I have 3 or more category 7s on my field, she gains 2k power and also haste. For my fires, I run 2 of the EX clouds, where when he hits the field, I deal it forward on my opponent's field. Essentially 3,000, and then 1,000 more for whatever damage I have. I only run 1 of the 5 fire CP Tifas. Essentially, she stops my opponents from blocking, because when she attacks, I just choose one forward and it cannot block. Her ability, where if I activate it, my opponent's 3 CP or less cannot block. Next up, I run 2 CP Fire Tifas. Essentially, she's really good because she automatically has haste when she hits the field. So that's for like added pressure. Next up, I run 3 of the Fire 2 CP Clouds. Pretty much when he hits the field, if I have another Final Fantasy VII, he gains 2,000 power, but he also deals 2,000 to my opponents. And for my backups, Marlene, I run. She's a great card to recover Reave, Barret, Cloud, or Tifa. That's in my break zone. Next up, I run 3 Jesse. Really great card for dropping Barret and Cloud by 1. So I can bring the Light Cloud, who's 3 CP for 2. The 4/1 for 1. Anything for less. Also the 2 for 1. It's a really good card. Speed things up for like summoning. Next up, I run 2 of the Eras backups. Really great for keep playing my backups. So if I have already tapped one of my backups, play her. She untaps 1, and most likely a fire 1. I could play another CP. Next up, 2 Goldos. Essentially, he's a booster for Yuffie by giving her 1,000 power, but it also gives her first strike. And it's really great to work with when you have the 3 CP Yuffie. Next up, I run 2 Zax, another card that helps me pull a Cloud or a Soldier from my break zone into my hand. Next up, I have Zegan. His EX is I get to search for a Tifa 4 or less, but he also gives any Tifas on the field.
It's any Tifa, I think.
No, it's...
Oh, the Tifa on the field
Yep.
gets haste. Okay. Oh, okay.
Next up, I run 3 Cosmos.
Oh, the spice?
This essentially helps with the tricolor. So essentially, with her on the field, I can choose Earth, Wind, or Fire. And it adds, so it allows me to summon. Next up, for my summons, I run 2 Phoenix. With Phoenix, I can choose a 2 or less CP monster, a character, place it on the field, and it deals 2,000 damage to all my opponent's forwards. Next up, I run Belus, or Bilias, or however you pronounce it. Bilias. Pretty much his EX burst is choose 1 forward until the end of the turn. It gains 1,000 haste and first strike, and I get to draw 1 card. Really good. Next up for the last one will be Titan. A really good counter card, especially if it ends up in the damage. So pretty much you give one of your forwards 1,000, and no, not 1,000, 2,000, and then your opponent, you select that one as the other target, so it deals the increased boost towards my opponent. So it's also really good if I have a forward that has first strike. So pretty much with Titan, it's now a boosted character with first if the character has first strike.
Pretty good. Well, thank you very much for your version 1 of, what is it, TriColor? Elementals?
The Materia Masters.
Materia Masters. Thank you very much for Final Fantasy Fridays. We're here with Reave and Raiden from Decksmiths. Until next time, adios.
Whoa, whoa.